Hello everyone, welcome back to BPO Interview Tutorials. I hope you guys are doing really well and please share, subscribe our channel and click on bell icon so that you will get notification on all the upcoming videos. You can also check our playlist. You will find approximately 300 and plus videos that will help you cracking your interview on trainers, team leader, operation manager, quality analyst, WFM analyst, Six Sigma certification, people management, project management, Scrum Master, local studio. Many more videos are there, guys, that will surely help you in cracking the interview. In upcoming days, we are preparing our complete courses on Power BI as well as Tableau. So keep checking our playlist, keep liking our videos, and don't miss to click on bell icon as well. So today we came up with an interesting concept that is on what are the 5 Scrum events. So this is the continuation of the Scrum framework. So we are learning about Scrum framework wherein we have almost learned 5 to 7 topics on it. If you haven't seen that, check out our playlist. You will find Scrum Master courses, and I will also attach a link in the end of the video, also in the description, so that you can review it and you can understand the entire concept easily. So let's start today's concept, that is on Scrum event. So before moving to the events, what basically Scrum team perform during any of their work, we will first understand the meaning of Scrum event. So basically, guys, let me go to some basic example here. For an example, there is a product owner. He wants some product, okay, and he came up to a developer team or any of the team. Now if we want to close that particular product on time, we basically need to follow some process. Why we need to follow the process? So that we can deliver the product on time, accurate, without any delays, and we can also work in a continuous manner, so that whatever product or how much we have completed so far, we can review with the product owner, so that they can also let us know if the enhancement is required, or if they want to remove something or add something, we will get to know, right? To do all this thing, we required a Scrum events, guys. Okay, the Scrum master basically follow the Scrum events, due to which they will get the exact product or exact part of the product on time, so that they can work on the second part of the product. Let's start the Scrum event definition here. They basically says that it's a formal and time boxed meeting with the Scrum framework designed to create regularity, minimize the need of the other meeting, and serve dedicated opportunity for the inspections and adoption. I have given you one example, guys, wherein I told you that there is a product that need to be delivered on time. So what Scrum Master team will do, they will divide that particular product development to few parts, okay, and that basically known as sprint. And they will work on sprint by sprint. Whenever one sprint is getting completed or getting delayed, or in that particular sprint anything is pending, they will move it to the next priority. In this way they will do all these activities, due to which the product owner will get exact information about the product, what we are working on, what is the progress, everything will be informed. There will be a daily meeting held with all the responsibility people. Who are our responsibilities people? Three, right? We discussed: developer, Scrum Master, and product owner. There will be a daily meeting. They will understand how much progress is done, how much it is pending. All these activities will be done in the Scrum event, right? So let's start the Scrum event in details, wherein why we do this, so that we can have a transparency, proper inspection, and we can also adapt the changes whenever we required, due to which we basically follow the Scrum events. I personally suggest Scrum events are not only used in corporate. I would suggest if you're working with regards to your business or anything wherein you are preparing something for your customers, I would suggest you always use Scrum events, so that everyone have a transparency, right time, on a right time inspections can be done, and we can adapt the changes whenever we required on the basis of the requirement from the product owner. Now we have total four type of events, I would say, but the main event here is sprint. That conclude there are five, okay. So it totally depend like how you want to conclude it. So the first we have sprint, then we have sprint planning, Inside of sprint, we have a sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective. Guys, in this 4 we have many things like sprint backlog, sprint goal, like sprint burn chart, many things we have, guys. So we will learn everything in detail. Let's start the first part, which is sprint. So what is the meaning of sprint? General example I will give you, guys. There is a product owner, he wants something, some product to be generated or delivered on time. What we have done, we understood the entire requirement and we break down that requirement into sprint in a parts. So basically the sprint is a work in the scrum is done in the series of a short project is known as sprint. Understood, guys? So we divide into some parts and we will start working on those specific parts as per their priority. Now it is a heartbeat of scrum, obviously, because if you collect all the scrum, all the sprint, you will get the entire product, right? Now where ideas are turned into values and we have a fixed length like time, everything that we will decide, and then we will work on our sprint, guys. Now a new sprint immediately start once we complete the last sprint. Okay, so immediately we have to start. So there is an entire team who will work on it. Okay, all the 3 responsibility people will work on it and they will start this sprint. And sometimes, you know what I have seen, if let's consider there are 3 sprints, we understood that this product required 3 sprint. We will decide our deadline here. For an example, in a meeting we decided that for one sprint we require 2 weeks, then we require another 3 weeks, then another 1 week. In this way we will set a plan and we will give it to product owner. Tentative plan we will give them so that product owner will be aligned and on a right time a right product will be delivered. Now the sprint is a container of all the events. The events in the scrum set to a frequency of the inspections and the adoption where the artifacts contained in the information be inspected and adapted. I told you, right? In the sprint you will find everything in the sense what work we need to do, why are we doing, when it will be delivered. Okay, if there are any priority in that particular sprint, we have a product backlog, right? In the product backlog we have divided into a sprint. In sprint also we have some priorities to be completed. Let me give an example. The product backlog is a website. Suppose we have a website request. Product backlog is a website. Now what we have done, home page, about us, contact us page, then services, these all are our sprint. In the sprint we have still some, we have few more categories. For an example, on a home page, what is the requirement? They required a banner on the top of the page. Below that they required a testimonials. Below they required some about us information along with the location and the contact us form. So we have a priority to complete everything in the sprint as well, right? Next, during sprint, scrum team work together to create a potentially reliable product increment, fix scope and duration and time boxing. I told you already, everything dependent on the time, guys, dependent on the time, dependent on the priority, and they will focus on the priority work even, guys. Okay, now last point, who can cancel the sprint? Guys, most of the time in the interview we will get this question, who have authority to cancel the sprint in the between or starting whenever they require. The product owner only have the option to cancel that. Okay, and the priority will be set by the product owner. On the basis of that, developer team, scrum team will suggest to them, okay, this is the first sprint we will pick and we will start our work on it. So this is all about the first slide. Let me move to the another one. So what we have here is the outcome of every sprint in potentially realizable product increment that adhere to the definition of done. Yes, we like, what is definition of done? I will explain you in detail with the different slides, but here the definition of done means whatever we are delivering by end of the sprint is known as definition of done, right? Suppose the request was website. In the website home page, we have completed the home page. Now we are delivering to the product owner. Now that is the end of the sprint, and which we can also conclude as definition of done, right? During the sprint no changes are made that would okay, one more thing, during the sprint we will not make any changes, but if there are any priority we need to enter that in the next sprint. Totally depends on the product owner requirement, guys. Otherwise, a sprint goal, the end goal of the sprint, the definition of done will get delayed. The product backlog is refined as needed. I already told you the product backlog, in the sense the actual product what we required, uh, that can be refined, like the requirement might get changed. And quality does not get decreased because we have a regular connect with all our stakeholders. There is no chance of decreasing the quality. Scope may be clarified, renegotiated between the product owner as more is learned. Definitely, during the meeting, they will understand if there is a new requirement, the cost, everything will be decided on the basis of that, guys. Next, sprint planning. I hope you have understood about the sprint in detail. If you still have any doubt, we have a feedback session open, guys. You can share your questions there. I will try to help you out. The next part we have is sprint planning. Now, what we have done, again I will go with the example of website. We have decided these are our sprint, right? Now we will start the like home, about us, services, this all are a sprint. Now we have to decide a sprint planning. Now we have to do a plan. How we will do sprint planning? Initiated by the sprint by laying out the work to be performed for the sprint. The purpose of the sprint planning meeting to plan what is the work we have to complete in the current sprint. This plan is created by the collaborative work by the entire Scrum team. This is the first event that happened in a sprint. Okay, we decided a sprint, we have to work on home page. Okay, everyone will collect. Who? All the stakeholders, product owner, developer team, Scrum team. Everyone will connect. They will decide how we can start, what should be the plan, which part should be picked first in that particular sprint. That all will be discussed under the sprint planning. So there might be a chances we might also have a sprint backlog, right? Because in sprint itself we have a different categories. I told you, right? On a home page itself we required some banners, we also required contact us information. In the footer we require the information. In this way we have multiple priorities. So sprint backlog will be decided here. On the basis of that, the goal will be decided, sprint goal, right? Next, sprint planning is also time based, time box, guys. It might take minimum 8 hours or for a month sprint, and for a shorter sprint it might take a shorter time even. Totally depend on the entire team discussions, guys. The Scrum Master ensure that every event take place and that particular participation understand the purpose. The Scrum Master teaches the Scrum team to keep it within the time box. The main what Scrum Master work is, they shouldn't delay anything, and they will be keep tracking everything with the developer team, what is the progress and everything, so that they will understand like either everything is completed under the given timeline or not. Next, sprint planning address the following topics. Why we required. So in the sprint planning we will discuss all this point. Why the sprint is valuable, what can be done in this sprint, how we will choose that work can be done immediately. So all the discussions, this kind of discussions like why, what, how will be done in the sprint meeting guys. Sprint planning, I would say. In the sprint planning, I told you, right, in the previous slide, we will also generate with the sprint backlog, right? So we'll learn everything in detail. If you get this question, you should answer this: what is a sprint backlog and sprint goal? Okay, the sprint backlog represent the work the developer team do in the current sprint. It is highly visible real-time picture of that work what developer need to accomplish during the sprint in order to achieve the sprint goal. Okay, again website example, we divided into sprint: home, about us, services, gallery, everything. Now in the home, what we required like banner, contact us information, footer we required some links, we also required about us information. Now this is a sprint backlog. So developer team will ensure like which should be prioritized first, and product owner will specify which should be prioritized first. In this way they will discuss everything in the sprint backlog. Now the sprint backlogs have just enough details. Obviously it will have all the details and define the task that developer will do, and in the end we will get to know that what is done. So we will get it from the developer team here. Definition of done will basically given by the developer team here, and we'll move to the end of the sprint and we'll move to the another increment. The backlog items that are not completed in the end of the sprint are moved back to the product backlog so that product owner can prioritize in the next sprint or a future sprint. Sometimes some situations occur due to technical or some any other issues, okay, cost or whatever it is. Some work will not get done in that particular sprint, so we will again throw everything, like we will not throw basically in the sprint meeting or in the scrum meeting. Everything will be decided, like let this work go in the product backlog, and product owner will decide how can they prioritize the work. For an example, we got to know that customer is looking for the gallery images. Now customer told that I don't have a gallery images right now. So in this particular sprint we will move that particular work again back to the product backlog. Now it's product backlog, which whenever he find the gallery images with him, he will share with us and we'll prioritize that work in the another sprint, right? So in this way we will decide. Now sprint goal, nothing. If we clear all the backlog, then we have a sprint goal, guys. So this is all about the sprint goal, and if not, it will again move back to the product backlog. We also have a sprint execution, guys. What is this sprint execution? It is the work the scrum team performs to meet the sprint goal. Whatever work we do in the scrum team to meet the sprint goal is known as a sprint execution. Okay, in order to complete the work in the sprint, okay, in order to clear the sprint backlog in the sprint, we will basically do sprint execution. After the sprint planning, the team start work on the sprint backlog and do all the deliver potentially releasable done. So this is such a technical language, guys. I would give a basic example. Whatever work we are doing in the sprint backlog, that basically known as a sprint execution, guys. Make sense? And that will be done by the developer team taking support from the scrum master and the product owner. Make sense? Okay, now the members will collaboratively work with each other, guys, in order to get the sprint goal. Here is the example. You can see this is a product backlog. We will take a sprint. Now this is a sprint planning, so here we will have a sprint backlog. Okay, in the sprint backlog, whatever work we complete, that will comes under sprint goal. Whatever will not able to complete, that will go back to the product backlog. So this is all about the sprint planning, guys. Next important part, daily scrum. One word, every day there will be a 15 minutes meeting with the entire team to discuss what work we have completed so far in this particular day, and what work is planning and what we are going to pick in the upcoming day. Everything will be discussed in this scrum meet. Make sense? It will be for 15 minutes. Might be like they all will connect through WebEx meetings or Google meetings or live, depends like how they want to connect. The purpose of the daily scrum is to inspect the progress towards the sprint goal, and they can understand what is the backlog they are actually looking for. Make sense? Now the daily scrum basically will also be discussed. In the daily scrum we will also discuss about the sprint goal, and the developer team, what they will do after every daily scrum meet, developer team will connect with their respective developer technician, and they will immediately focus on the work that need to be completed. Now next, what we have, sprint review. What is the sprint review? Again, I'll go with the website example. Let's consider there are 5 sprint we have completed, or might be let's consider one sprint is completed, home page completely we have done. Whatever required, we have again thrown that back to the product backlog. Now we have completed the sprint 1. What happens? So there will be a review meeting on that particular sprint in order to understand either we completed everything, developer team completed everything, scrum team suggested everything, the product owner gave clear understanding, and whatever we have completed and whatever section of the product is what I can say is completed, and we are able to review that all we will be done in the sprint review meeting, guys. You can see example here. In the sprint review Scrum team, they will say, oh, here we go, the sprint is completed, and we have a stakeholders, they will share the feedbacks if they have anything. If they find like, oh, this is not good, there should be some changes, XYZ, everything will be discussed there. In this way the sprint review meeting will be conducted. Sprint review meeting is held at the end of the sprint to inspect the outcome of the particular sprint. I already told you. Now during the sprint review, the sprint team, the Scrum team and the stakeholders review the product increment developed during that particular sprint. Everyone will review that whatever piece of product we have completed, we will review everything, and then we will understand either we should move to the another sprint, or if there are anything that needs to be prioritized in the second sprint, or if anything which is being forwarded in the product backlog, everything will be discussed in the sprint review meeting. Again, daily Scrum sprint review meeting. Okay, understand there is no difference in the sprint review. It will held for 4 to 5 hours or lower or higher, totally depend. Okay, and daily Scrum will be for the 15 minutes to understand the whatever work we have done for that particular day. Sprint review will be done for a longer time in order to understand whatever work we have completed, whatever work not, what when the sprint is completed, how the piece of the particular product is looking now. Okay, to review that we will have a sprint review. So there is a difference in the daily Scrum and sprint review, guys, make a note of it. Now last we have sprint retrospective. Now what is this retrospective, guys? Theory is really boring. I'll give you a basic example. We work on the home page, right? It took approximately 2 weeks. Let's consider we decided to complete that in 2 weeks, and we completed in 2 weeks. Okay, now what happened? There is a team in the Scrum team. They will share a feedback form. I would say a feedback form or something. They will share like there will be a board in the meeting room, and they will paste like sprint feedbacks, whatever feedbacks we want to give there. So where it will be anonymous, first thing, wherein everyone will share their feedbacks, like what they have liked in that particular sprint. Like in the sense what they have developed is not the question here. Whatever we have learned, what we have leaked, what we have faced the challenges, everything, whatever feedback, the entire responsibility people want to share, they will share here. So this is basically known as sprint retrospective. Now we can see here we have like liked, learn, leak and long for. Okay, date and who all are responsible people. They will mention their name, or like they will can make the uh, team name here. So in this way we will share, and there will be a meeting on the retrospective with the all the responsibility people, and they will understand like we shouldn't make the same mistakes, or we shouldn't face the same challenges in our upcoming sprint. Okay, so this is known as retrospective. The retrospective is an opportunity for the Scrum team in order to inspect itself and create a plan to improvement to be enhanced in the next sprint, guys, right? Makes sense? The purpose of the retrospective is to plan way to increase quality and effectiveness. A team will take a feedback, they will take a feedback, they will discuss, they will carry forward into, if they will discuss and they will take all the good outputs, and whatever negativity or whatever issues they have identified, they will remove that, so that they can carry forward the next sprint very accurately. And retrospective conclude the sprint. It is again a time boxed maximum. It will be conducted for 3 hours for once a month. I told you, right? It's like once a month. After every sprint we will conduct. We'll not conduct this after daily meet, guys. We'll conduct like after every sprint, or might be when we complete the entire product. So this is known as sprint retrospective. So what we have learned today, Scrum event. In the Scrum event we have started with sprint. After sprint we have completed sprint planning. After planning we understood sprint backlogs, then sprint goal. We also understood what is the product backlog, and then we move to the daily Scrum. In the daily meeting will be held, and then we understood sprint review, like after completion of one particular sprint there will be a meeting which is known as sprint review, then sprint retrospective. So we have learned all these things in details today. Now let me explain you, this is nothing like we all have seen this in a previous slide, but just an understanding, like for the sprint it is like one time activity, right? Time box, 1 month or less. totally depend like sprint, how much time it will take to complete a particular sprint. Now sprint planning, 8 hours for shorter sprint, and the event is usually shorter. Daily scrum 15 minutes, sprint review 4 hours or lower for the lower kind of sprint review, like lower kind of sprint. Then we have a retrospect, it's for the 3 hours, and for the shorter sprint it totally depends like how much time you want to take. Okay, and frequency is also being discussed here. Sprint planning will be done in the beginning of the sprint. Daily scrum we will do daily. Sprint review end of the month. Sprint retrospective again the end of the sprint. Right, makes sense. So this is a summary of whatever we have discussed. In the last, we can go with one example, the same website example what we have discussed. So we have a product backlog, we have our owners, scrum team, developer team, then product owner, right? We have a product backlog, that is a website development. Now we created into sprint, we picked up one sprint, that is home page. We understood whatever backlogs we have in that whatever sprint backlog we have in that home page. So what backlog generated? About us, like about us detail, banners, home page titles. We also required contact information, footer details, middle of the page we required some about us information. All this will goes in the sprint backlog. Now we decided the timing, like the timing take like 1 to 4 week. Now every 24 hours or every day there will be a scrum meeting, scrum daily meeting for 15 minutes. Then we have a sprint review and sprint retrospective team. They will do that will be once you complete the sprint, they will do a review. Sprint review will be done, then we will share some positive feedbacks or challenges learned what we have done in that particular sprint in the retrospective. Then finally we'll finish our work. So this is all about the scrum sprint in the scrum event. Still have any doubt? Please let me know, guys. I will try to help you out. I will guide you in detail if you require, and let me know if you have any questions on this particular part. And don't miss to share, subscribe our channel, don't miss to click on bell icon. You will get like there are many amazing videos are lined up, and we will be posting it out very soon, guys. Make sense? Now also check out our Instagram, LinkedIn and Facebook page, so that you will get notification, you will get on all the upcoming vacancies. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.